Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel, to my Wonderland. And in today's coffee time, I'm gonna talk to you about some of the things that I watched in the month of May.
It's coffee time.
So I was thinking every month I do a wrap-up of all the books that I read for my booktube channel. So every month I talk about the books that I read that month, and I was thinking, why not making it for my other channel and talk about some movies and series that I have been watching. And sadly I came up with this idea nearly at the end of the month of May, so I forgot some of the things that I watched this month. My memory is like that, you know, you get old. And sadly Netflix doesn't have in the menu an option of like recently watched or last watched, so it is hard to know exactly which ones I watched through Netflix, which is one of the platforms that I watch most of my stuff. They do have a watch again section, but that is in general and includes a lot of things from all months, like it's random, I think, so it's not really accurate to the last things that you watched. If you guys know a way of getting this information out of Netflix, do let me know in the comments down below, because I don't know, maybe I'm just too dumb, I don't know. But so from this month on, from June on, I'm gonna be keeping track and writing everything down that I have been watching, so that when the end of the month comes, I'm really gonna have an accurate list of all the things that I watched. And this month is gonna be just a little bit spontaneous, a little bit of things that I remember watching. Yeah, so surprisingly it's not a lot of horror, but there are a couple of series that I need to finish, and I'm not gonna include TV shows or seasons from those shows that I have not finished. I'm gonna include them once they're finished. So I was surprised there is not that much horror in this list, but we're gonna have to change that, because I have been purchasing also a lot of horror DVDs slash Blu-rays, a lot of movies I've been collecting lately to expand my movie collection, and I also want to get to watch all of those and give you a quick, you know, feedback on them. So let's start with the things that I have watched, and in this video I'm not gonna talk any spoilers. So I'm just gonna give you a general first impression opinion slash review on these movies and series without any kind of spoilers. And first, let's start with the movies. So one of the movies that I watched in Netflix is a horror movie. It's actually an American horror slash thriller that was released in 2016, but for some reason I have not watched it, and I decided to give it a try. And it is one of the movies that has surprised me. The movie starts being a typical kind of haunted house kind of story, because there is this family that moves into a new house. There is the dad, the mom, and the daughter, and a cat, and they move to this new house and this new neighborhood, and there are some weird things happening in the house, you know, like doors are opening and closing, and cabinets are kind of opening and closing by themselves, and you don't know what's going on, so you think it's going to be a very stereotypical movie about haunted houses. It does kind of feel it could be a home invasion kind of movie, but this movie did a great job at surprising the viewer and giving you really good twists. So if you're interested in movies that are a little bit you know, weird, disturbing, and that ended up being nothing like you expected, this might be for you. Then obviously I watched Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. This is a Netflix exclusive that is a movie, a biographical movie based on the life of Ted Bundy. It just came out on the 3rd of May, and funny enough, it's still not available in Germany. Like, what the fudge, Netflix? But thankfully Jeff lives in the Netherlands, so when I was over in the Netherlands we watched it. I'm so thankful that at least they put it in the Netherlands so that I could watch it when I was over there. Like, so rude, Netflix. And this movie, if you don't know, it stars Lily Collin as Liz, which was Ted Bundy's girlfriend for a long time. and Zac Efron, who is playing Ted Bundy himself. Netflix did release a 4-part documentary called The Bundy Tapes, I believe, and I really loved that one because it was really accurate, but it was done in a very respectful way to the victims, and I love that you got to understand a lot about the process and the whole story. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that one. I recommend you to watch it before you watch this movie. The movie by itself, I think it did a good job. It's more like a thriller drama, and it is told from the perspective of Liz and Ted Bundy and how they met, you know, the years before Ted Bundy was arrested, and it goes through the whole trial process. And one of the things that I really appreciated about this movie is that they did not use the crimes or the victims in order to make this movie attractive for the public and, you know, feed on that like other movies have done before when it comes to true crime. So I thought it was done really well. The movie, despite being a long movie, felt like it was a quick watch. You were engaged all the time. You were conflicted on the inside, like on one part you wanted to believe Ted Bundy and support him, and on the other part you knew that he was responsible for these crimes, which is basically what happened in real life. People didn't want to believe that Ted Bundy had committed these crimes, and then there were people that, you know, just wanted him to pay for what he did. Also, I love that Zac Efron looks so similar to the real serial killer. I do not like when they use good-looking actors to portray serial killers if that's not how the original serial killer looked like, you know what I mean? But in this case, the original Ted Bundy was really attractive for women back then, and a lot of women went even to the trial to see him because they were kind of like in love with him because he was attractive. So I do appreciate that they tried to make Zac Efron look as much as possible like the original. I'm realizing I have a lot to say about this movie. So if you want to see a full review on both the documentary from Netflix and the movie, let me know down below and I'll get to that and give you a full review with spoilers and all of that jazz. Then I watched something totally different, and that is The Greatest Showman. It is a 2017 American musical drama film, and it is based on the 19th century, and more specific, is based loosely on the life from P.T. Barnum, who is this guy that brought all of these people to this kind of circus. He created this kind of new concept, and I watched this movie primarily because we were going to watch Hugh Jackman's one-man show. So I thought, you know, it was a good idea to watch this movie because we've watched mostly all of his movies, but we've never watched this one. I'm not a huge fan of musicals. It depends. So we skipped this one, and I wanted to make sure to watch it before we went to the show. So my impression is I loved all the musical acts. I really enjoyed those parts. I did like a lot of things about the main story, but there were also some things that put me off a little bit that I didn't like. It's based on the life of this boy who is poor, and one day while he's helping his dad fix something at this rich man's house, he sees this girl, the daughter, and he kind of falls in love with her right away, insta love, and he fights all his life to get her, and finally they end up getting married and having children. Even though they're poor, they're happy, but then he embarks himself into this project and buys a museum, and he gets all these freaks to be in the museum so people can take a look at the freaks, which is something that in the 19th century did attract a lot of people. And it seems the idea is working at the beginning, but then it kind of backfires, and it is about, you know, the struggles and the life of P.T. Barnum and his visionary idea on the circus and the entertainment business. And like I said, there were many things that I liked, but also others that I didn't like that much. I don't want to get into much detail because then I'm gonna spoil the movie for you, but there were some sort of relationships, some sort of like love stories that I was not so pleased with, but it's still kind of like a solid movie. I think I would give it a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Then I watched The Perfect Date on Netflix, which is a new romantic teenage comedy. The reason why I watched this one is because I like Noah Centineo, since he did To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which is based on a book series, a book trilogy that I liked, so I decided to give it a go. Sometimes I'm just in the mood for some super easy teenage romance story that I don't have to think too much about, and to be honest, I ended up liking it more than I thought. It's about this guy that is trying to save up some money to go to the college that he wants to go to, and together with his friends, they are very like tech savvy, and they are working on developing an app and all of that. And he comes to the idea of developing an app to become the perfect date. So basically the girls go to the app and they say, I want you to dress like, I don't know, cowboy style, and I want you to be sweet, and I want you to do this, or you know, I want you to come to my parents' house and be totally rude so my dad will let me date somebody else. Like, they put all of these weird requests, and he starts to make a lot of money out of this service. And I thought that was kind of cool and refreshing in a way, and I really enjoyed it. In the end, it's just a basic teenage romance comedy, but I did enjoy it. Then we have Someone Great, which is also a romantic comedy from Netflix, also original from this year. It just came out this month of May, and to be honest, this one kind of disappointed me. I didn't think it was that funny, but I did watch this one for the same reason that I watched The Perfect Date, just because it had actors that I liked and I wanted to give it a try. We're following the story of Jenny, who gets her dream job in Rolling Stones magazine as a journalist, but she's going through a rough time because her boyfriend of 9 years just dumped her, and she kind of loses perspective in life a little bit, and she is relying on her two best girlfriends to help her. And to be honest, I know it's supposed to be funny, but I think it was just not my kind of humor, and I didn't really enjoy the movie. I just felt like it's just about sex and getting drunk all the time, so I didn't find it appealing to me. I don't know, I didn't like this kind of humor. But I think it was just the case that it was not my kind of humor. But if you like these kind of comedies between girlfriends and breakups and, you know, sex and drugs, you might like this one. Then I watched Dumpling, that came out on Netflix in 2018, another Netflix exclusive. And I watched this one because I read the book, and the same day that I finished the book, I had time, so I decided to go and watch the movie on Netflix. And I have to say, they did a good job adapting the book, but there were so many things missing on the movie, which I understand you could not put them in there because you don't have enough time. So Dumpling is the story about a girl that, well, she knows she's fat, and she doesn't really have a problem with it. She's actually somebody that has a lot of body positivity, and she accepts herself like she is. But of course, like everybody, she has her moments where she doubts about herself. And the plot twist, if you want to call it like that, is that her mom was a beauty pageant queen, and is still involved in the business, and every year she's helping to organize the beauty pageants, and she always wears the same dress, and she needs to stay skinny. And it's kind of like how she deals with the fact that her mom is so involved in a business that is judging women for just being skinny and perfect and beautiful. But the story is full of funny moments, cute romance moments, and like I said, in the book there are so many things that are important for the development of the main character that we do miss in the movie. But again, I understand, because you cannot make like a 5-hour movie just to compile everything that is on the book. But I truly really enjoyed this movie, and I do recommend it to anybody that likes this kind of movies. And the last movie that I want to talk to you about, and a movie that is the last one that I watched on Netflix, is The Perfection. Sadly, I cannot really give you a review of this movie, because then it will just spoil the whole movie for you. All that I'm gonna tell you is that it involves a musical prodigy and a new student that kind of go down a dark path. So that's it. It's based on musicians and competition and things like that. That's all really that I am willing to give you, because else I'm gonna spoil it. But I will tell you this. This movie is messed up. It's disturbing. It's weird. And it's a what the fudge just happened. It's a mind fuck, and you're gonna love it, and I think everybody should watch this. But when you go into it, just don't read anything. Just go into it and be open-minded. And let me know down below if you watched it. Let me know what you thought about the movie. And now let's go to the TV shows, TV series that I have watched. So the most recent one that I have watched has been Dead to Me. This is a Netflix exclusive that just came out, and it has 10 episodes. I just love Christina Applegate. I've always kind of liked her, and I decided to give it a try because this one looked like a dark thriller kind of situation. So we're following the story of Jen, and Jen's husband was killed in a hit and run with a car, and she goes to this therapy group to try to help her accept what happened. And there she meets another woman that is going through something similar, that's called Judy, and she's there because she has miscarried, and she's also having trouble with, you know, moving on with her life. And these two women meet, and they start to have these great friendships, supporting each other. And we start to discover that Judy has a darker past, and Jen doesn't know about this. I like that the TV show episodes were only like 23 minutes per episode, which makes it really easy to binge watch. And there were many parts that had great black humor. I would have wished it would have been just a little bit better. I don't know, there was something a little bit missing for me, but I would still give it a solid 7. Then I binge watched 3 seasons from Night Shift. Don't ask me why. One day I was browsing through Netflix and I saw this and I was like, I like shit about hospitals, why not? So I put it on and I started to binge watch it because I got really addicted to the show. And I have made my research, and apparently there are 4 seasons, but Netflix only has 3. And I think the last season aired in 2017. So Netflix, please give me the season that I'm missing. So the series went on from 2014 to 2017, and it is about this hospital, and it's following up the ER, so the emergency room, and all the cases that come in, and it has to deal, you know, with the nurses and the doctors. But what I loved about the show that made it a little bit different is that even though there are some, you know, romances, there are some love stories, they didn't focus so much on them, but on the past of some of the doctors that were military. So you get to see some of the things that they saw at war, and I thought that was really interesting, and it gave another perspective on how, you know, these doctors work, or what do they take certain decisions. And I really enjoyed it, I have to say, because it was less focused on the romance and more focused on other kind of topics. Then I watched You because I read the book by Carolyn Kepnes, and I decided, okay, you read the book and now you watch this series. And it is a total of 10 episodes. It's a Netflix exclusive. And I am one of the people that like the show and like the book, but I feel like it's very divided. A lot of people didn't like the book or didn't like the series, but I do like it. I like that we are getting a very dark story of a very disturbed person, our main character Joe, that works in a bookstore, and one day a girl comes in, smiles at him, and he already thinks like she's dying for him, and he starts this kind of obsessive relationship with her and just wants her for himself. And I love that you when you read the book or watch the series, you are listening to his voice, how he sees things, how he thinks things, and it is super interesting to see everything from his perspective. And if you like twisted, dark stories of creeps, weirdos, this one is also for you. And the last two things that I want to talk to you about is something that I'm interested in, but it's like totally weird. Like maybe it's like a weird fetish of mine, but I like to see shows that have to deal with like jail, and people are in jail and what crimes they committed and all of this kind of stuff. I don't know, it's interesting, and I always put it when I'm like organizing things, cleaning, whatever. Like you don't have to pay a lot of attention to these shows, but I just think it's interesting to hear the stories of real people that are in real jails. So I watched two different shows on Netflix about jail and people are in jail, convicts. And the first one is Jailbirds, with a total of 6 episodes, and this one was a lot of fun because it was more based a part of, you know, the crimes that they committed. It's about this huge jail which connects and, so to say, all the cells through the toilets, and the inmates kind of figure out a way to pass stuff like objects and little notes through the toilet system. And that was very interesting to see and get to know the people that are in there and their stories. And the other show that I watched, it's called First and Last, and also has only a total of 6 episodes, and it follows the inmates from the day that they arrive to the day that they are released. And it's really interesting because they also tell you what happened months after their release, so you get to follow up a little bit on their life after. And I don't know, it might be one of the only weird people that like to watch these shows, but I'm super interested to get to know these people, their stories, how they ended up in jail, what happened. And I don't know, it's interesting to me to see these people and the way that they think. So this is everything I can remember that I watched on the month of May. But like I said, for the month of June, I'm gonna be really keeping a list of everything that I have been watching so that I don't forget anything. Let me know down below what you thought about the shows or the movies that I have mentioned, if you've watched them, and if you have any kind of recommendations based on the things that I have been watching in the month of May. Let me know all of it in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up for support, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to follow me on the social media like Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, the links are in the description box down below. And I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!